Well, hey guys, I've been looking forward to making this one for a while. You know, I've had these Trophyline mini sticks, ordered them up a month ago or so, and I've been kind of interspersing using these things along with the Dano sticks, some other sticks, reviews coming out later on. Really super high-end sticks, right? And every once in a while I'd go back and grab these Trophyline mini climbing sticks. A pack of 4, you can get them for about $159.99, $160 or so, which makes them roughly about $40 a stick. And you know, in comparing them, you know, and using them right alongside some of those big sticks, the big high-end sticks are $115, $120 a piece, right? You know, you would think these would fall well short of the mark. And actually they don't. They're a really good economy stick. Today's video is going to show you how to take these $40 sticks, slight upgrades we're going to do to them right here on the channel, and show you how to walk through it right along the way and make these things. We're going to turn them from, here's what I've been saying, I'm going to turn them in from a Camaro. Love that car back in high school, was infatuated with that. Had some friends had Camaros. I grew up really poor, couldn't afford a Camaro. We're going to take these things from a Camaro, which is a really sporty model, really good performance, but still on the economy end of sports cars, right? We're going to turn these things into Corvettes. So stick around. Let's do it step by step, take you along the ride, and show you how to take these things from Camaros to Corvettes. Well, okay guys, you can probably guess a couple of things that we're going to do to these to really spruce them up and spiff them up and make them really in the league of you know, what a real run and gun mobile bow hunter, a serious, you don't have to be a bow hunter, I am, and I always say bow hunter, right? If you're a gun hunter, God bless you. But if, you know, if you're really a run and gun mobile hunter, right, and you want to be quiet, you want to sneak into some bedding areas, the first thing that we got to do, right, is we got to get rid of this clunky, huge, big buckle strap. You know, I've used this several times with this thing on there, but that's by far, you know, you're throwing that around the tree and grabbing it and just picking them up, you know, that buckle's going to clank a little bit. So the first thing we got to do, get rid of that. Okay, before we completely dismantle and get rid of the production package that is completely sent out when you order one, let's do this though. Let's weigh one of these with the buckle, with everything on. Let's see the differences and the changes we make from beginning to end. So we've zeroed out the scale here, and let's figure out a good place to put the hook. And these are 17-inch sticks, 15 inches step to step, the way they're sent out from the factory. And you can tell that is 1.88 pounds. That's a factory setup, 2 rotating single steps, and the factory buckle strap, 1.88 pounds. Okay guys, here's what I'm going to use for my rope mod. It's a piece of 1/4 inch Amsteel. And I've talked with a couple of saddle hunting buddies. One of them says, oh, that's so 2000s, right? Everyone's using 1/8 and full bury 1/8 and stuff like that. Here's the reason why I still love to use 1/4 inch Amsteel for these rope mods. One is if you do a full bury on a 1/8 inch Amsteel, so you've got twice the weight of regular 1/8, right? 1/8 buried inside 1/8, which makes it the same weight as just plain old 1/4 inch, right? I understand you're saving just a little bit of, well, half the diameter, but same weight, right? And the diameter on this actually works out just perfectly. You'll see that here in a second, because what we're going to do is we're going to loop it around. We're going to keep this Versa button. We're going to loop it around that Versa button, and then when you throw it around the tree, right, and then come back in, that is that's the right width to be able to pinch and kind of get that Chinese finger trap going there and pinch it in. It helps hold it in, and then you just lock it in with a couple half hitches or whatever. But that 1/4 inch is actually perfect for this. So here's what I like to do. I like to go ahead and build my rope mod on the Versa button. A lot of guys will go ahead and will build it off, you know, off the stick, and they'll leave the loop big enough, you know, whatever, you know, they'll build a 1-inch loop, right? And then they'll come back and put it on or over the Versa button. But here's what I found. If I build it on the Versa button and cinch that sucker down super tight, I don't have to worry about falling off as I'm walking in and out of the woods, right? it just makes a lot of sense to me. So what I'm going to do is I will start off. Now you'll see I've got the proper tools. I've got a Samson fid pusher and all of this stuff like that. A piece of this is a coat hanger wire, okay, doubled over, bent over, and it's approximately 14 inches long. This is really, even though I've got the proper tools, this is what I use, okay? And so if I just guess that that's about how long a bird, and you could probably find a statistic on Samson's websites and all that about, X, Y, Z, squared root of this and that, and it'll tell you exactly how long this bury needs to be. Once you build a locked Brummel in it, to me the bury is just, it's there to hold it in place. But if you've got an 8, 9, 10 inch bury, and if you disagree with me, again, God bless you, this is not coming out. It's not moving, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure that that's plenty enough bury for me, all right? So I'm going to pinch that about right there. That's kind of where I want this. I want to leave that much for my locked Brummel and my bury. So I'm going to take this and pinch it together. Again, Amsteel is a hollow core rope, meaning it's hollow on the inside. And I can take this wire and just insert it right there in the middle, and you'll see how easy it sticks out the other side, just like that, okay? So once I do that, I can stick enough wire that I can open this real easily. And what I'm going to do first, let's do this. Let's go back, because I want to taper this bury. In fact, I'll just go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to taper this bury in here. I'm going to use my actual fid tool on this. You could use a nail. You don't need to buy a fid for this. A common nail could do this. What I'm doing is I'm separating these strands. I should have done this first, but no big deal. I didn't get too far into the process. So I am separating the strands on this Amsteel rope, right? The reason I'm doing that is once I have them all separated, and I'm catching a couple of those, I'm going to milk it back out. But I'm just separating those out. And I don't know, this might be, I could count them, there's probably about a 12 strand rope. I have no idea, and honestly, don't care, okay? What I'm going to do though, grab a pair of trusted scissors here, I'm going to cut about every other one of these off. And by cutting every other one of these, and you don't have to get and go, pull them apart and look and make sure that it's every other one. Just in essence, what I'm really doing is I'm cutting about half of them. When I cut about half of these out of here, when I bury this, and bury is sticking this part of it back into itself, right? Back into the core of the rope. We'll explain that as we go along if you've never worked with Amsteel or splicing ropes or anything like that. I'm going to cut about, let's see, I've got 2, 4, 6, I've got 7 left. I'm going to cut, I'm going to go ahead and cut one more. That may have been about half of them, I don't know. But as I bury that back in itself, that's where my taper is going to be, and it'll taper down nice and thin and really slim, and not just have this bulky end and kind of a knot looking inside the bury, right? So again, let's just kind of, I'm just going to eyeball it and go, that's plenty enough bury in there, right? So I'm going to grab my spot. Again, there's probably a calculation on Samson's website. If you want to go to all that trouble and look at it up, make sure you're absolutely within spec, go for it. Okay, so I'm sticking this wire, and I'm making sure that that's right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of this hollow core rope, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick enough wire in here that I can open it up. That's why I use such a long wire. I'm going to grab this taper, in other words the ends where I cut, I'm going to insert it in the middle of that wire until I get it up here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it back through itself. See how I just pulled it through itself? Okay, now that I've got that going, I'm going to put it on the Versa button and continue pulling tighter and pull that all the way. Okay. Now, since I went through this long tag end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in as close as I can. This little tag end here, this long end now needs to go through the short end. That's what's going to create a lock. And I'm going to try to go as close as I can to that Versa button to make it look nice and tidy. Take the longer end, go up into my little wire tool here. Okay, I got it through there. All I'm going to do is pull it super, super tight. Pull both of those tight. And if you notice, it's locked. It's not going anywhere. That's why I don't really super concern myself. I want a long enough bury, right? I mean, I don't want to be stupid about it. But it's not coming out right now. That's a locked Brummel. It's really tight around the Versa button. And what I'm going to do now is bury this tag in. I'm going to bury it inside this longer piece of the rope here. Okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold them together. I'm going to see how long this rope, that tag end, and the taper, you can see how it's going to taper down right there. And I'm going to come down about another, inch or so. And that's where I'm going to pop this out. And I'm going to insert this tool, my little folded up wire, and I'm just going to run it back up inside itself all the way. See how it's expanding? I'm expanding it and making that hollow part larger inside. Keep feeding the wire up into it, and eventually I want to expose or pop this wire out right where that tag end comes out. The closer that I can get that wire to come out right there at the end of that tag, the cleaner it will look. Okay, so I've got it to come out right inside there. I'm going to take this taper again. That's why I use 14 inches of wire. I'm going to spread it apart here. I'm going to insert, just like I've opened up a cut where I cut myself with a razor blade a couple days ago, doing some bow work. Going to have to go get a Band-Aid here in a little bit. Now what I'm going to do is pull this tag end back through itself. Notice I'm able to milk it on here. What we're wanting to see is we're wanting to see the end of that rope. There we go. Notice how I got it all the way through here. Okay, there's that whole tag end. Now I can start milking it back. And what I mean by milking it back is I'm actually gripping it and letting it slide firmly through my hands, and I'm pulling the outer core cover over that tag end until I pull it down all the way over that tag end. Now, here's something I want to stop and look and point out to you. Notice what that looks like right there? That's the end of that taper, right? That's the end of the tag end. I'm trying to milk this outer sheath over, right? That's what you see 100 times a month from the guys who buy the tethered Phantoms and Mantises, and they have the Amsteel bridge, and they have that little bit poking out there, and you see the question on there going, oh my God, is my saddle safe to use? You saw me pull as tight as I could on that locked Brummel. The bury is important, yes, it backs up the locked Brummel and everything else, but that little bit of tag in there, no big deal. Here, if I can't milk that outer sheath over it, here's how I take care of it. I go ahead and bend this over. And I just go ahead and trim it off. We'll pick that up later on off the floor. Get the bulk of that trimmed off. Now I'll go ahead and milk on in there. No problem. See how it tapers from its thick part up here? It tapers down into itself like that. Okay. Now you got a very professional looking bury and splice, and that thing is not coming off. It's physically impossible for this Amsteel mod to come off, this Amsteel rope. Now what I do is I finish it up with a heat. I'll cut this off really nice and neat, and then I'll slide a heat shrink tube over it. We'll show you that here in a second. I'll slide a heat shrink tube over it, melt it with a heat gun. It'll finish that off really nice so that doesn't fuzz out and cause you problems later. Now guys, you could use a lighter. You don't need a heat shrink gun. This just does a really good job of finishing off this Amsteel rope mod. Gives it a really nice professional look. Doesn't require a ton of heat. And you can see just a really nice finished look. So there you go. Step number 1 in modifying these and making these a really nice premium performing stick at a convenient economic price. So step number 1. Okay guys, we've got all of our rope mods attached now on all 4 sticks. I know one of the questions that people are going to ask is, what length rope mod do you recommend? And obviously it's a matter of personal choice, right? Personal preference. I found out for me over the years that about a 6-foot rope is really good. 7-foot max. I actually made these 6 foot 6 inches. So split the difference right between the two. These are all 6.5 foot long. Anything shorter than that, it limits my tree choices a little bit, right? Anything longer than that starts getting a little unwieldy, trying to just mess with it and you know, unwrap it, wrap it, throw it around a tree. These are really nice. You can see it's just long enough, and the reason I went with 6.5 is I can come back down and I got just enough tag in to come one more wrap around this Versa button and stuff it up underneath this rope and give it a cinch, and now it's held really tight. So that's how easy it is to store and you know, carry this stick. And that's why I went that extra 6 inches. Instead of 6 foot, I went 6'6". So it just took a little bit of playing to figure out how much tag in I needed to come back in and cinch it up underneath that Versa button. But that's the reason I did that. So let's go to the next step now, guys. So what's left with this? Obviously, we've got to do something with a single step. It's adequate. And like I said, I have climbed and hunted several times, probably about a dozen times with these sticks. Maybe not quite, maybe 8, 9, 10, but close to double digits, guarantee you. And it works, but you know, you're limited. You can't use naders and swaders. You can't really, you know, if you're going to use an aider, it's got to be something, you know, something like a Versa aider or something like that from Mike Isbell, Backwoods Mobile Gear. But you know, it just really, these sticks scream for double steps. They just really do. So what I did was I ordered 8 of the anodized ultralight double steps from Dano at Eastern Woods Outdoors. That can be found at doublesteps.com, as most of you guys know. So we're going to take these and replace these single steps rather, and we're going to replace them with Dano's double steps. And I think this is going to go a long way to completing and making this a premium performing stick at really a very economical price, even when you factor in the cost of the rope mods and the double steps. We'll go through exactly how much it costs and everything, different options you've got available to you here, and then we'll give you all that breakdown in the description in case you want to go back and look at it later without having to watch this video again. That'll all be in the description, but let's get to it. Let's replace the single steps with the double steps. Okay guys, if you're wondering here, both of these, both the bolt head and the nut are both 7/16. And of course, turn it the wrong way to start with. So, and with the ratcheting wrench, it was the wrong way. But yeah, 7/16 if you're wondering. We'll get these off. We're going to take these off carefully because you can tell there's a lot of nylon washers. So you got the nut, you got a nylon washer on that side of the standoff, and then a larger nylon washer. That allows that pivoting or rotating standoff to turn in there freely and not squeak because of the two sandwiching nylon washers. Then we'll remove this nut. Then we've got the bolt itself, which has a nylon washer, the pivoting single step, and another nylon washer. So both sides, of course I ended up dropping one, both sides have nylon washers sandwiching the parts on that. So we remove that, and that's what we end up with. I have a feeling we're going to have to remove this stop bolt. It's a socket head bolt there that stops that step from going over too far. We're probably going to have to remove it, and yeah, looking at it, we are. So we'll do the same thing with this. This one's going to take an Allen wrench on the socket head side, and looks like it's the 7/16, but we're going to have to get the proper size Allen wrench, smaller than that one. There we go. So we'll remove these. There's a nylon insert in the nut to make it a lock nut, and remove this socket head bolt. And now we've successfully cleared a path for this double step. Okay guys, so we are back from the hardware store. A couple different trips to the hardware store. So if you're watching this video and you're wanting to do this mod, I have saved you some time. I can tell you exactly which bolt it takes. I ended up with grade 8 bolts. They're flanged on the bottom, so you don't need a washer or anything with them. Kind of makes it really nice, sticks through there. And then remember, we saved our little nylon washers. We're going to put one of those in because we're going to retain the ability of these standoffs to pivot, which is actually kind of a nice little feature. So you'll end up having a kind of a better than some of the other steps, because you got a solid double step to stand on with a rotating standoff. That's kind of nice. So we're going to insert. So we got our nylon washer in between the stick, the tube, and your standoff. Put your standoff in there. Put the second nylon washer on there. Again, that's going to sandwich that standoff, and now they actually sell a grade 8 bolt that goes along with that has a locking nut feature on it. So those ended up being 2-inch bolts, grade 8 2-inch bolts. Started off with 1.5, that didn't work. Went to 1 3/4, that didn't work, and finally the 2-inch ones did work. So again, this is kind of where it's really nice to have this ratcheting wrench here. We're just going to snug her all the way down. Again, we don't want to tighten it super tight because we want to retain the ability of those standoffs to rotate. But so it takes a little give to pull those, to rotate those standoffs, but they will rotate. Okay. So the nice thing about them is I can get them straight and for the stacking ability. So in all transparency, those bolts, I've got 8 bolts with 8 nuts. They're grade 8. That was $18.75 roughly. $18.72 plus tax, might even be close to $19. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and finish installing the second double step here. So remember when we took the weight earlier of the factory stock stick? I want to install the second stick because that's our ultimate goal, right? Have the ultimate stick with two standoffs on it, so we can weigh that real quick, get a weight to compare and contrast how this finished modded out stick is going to weigh compared to the original one. Okay guys, we've got a completed stick here, 2 double steps, we've got a rope mod on. I did go ahead and build a second one off camera really quickly just to verify that they will stack just the way they're supposed to. It would have been a little bit foolish of me to not check that and make this whole video and tell you how great this is, and then they won't stack together. So they do stack really well. It's going to be a great little stick for the money, I can tell you that. And so let's wrap this up, cinch it up, and let's do this. Let's weigh one of these. Finished sticks are going to come out at here. .64. So 1.64 pounds a piece for these. So they are, if I remember right, seems like the Eastern Woods Outdoors, the ultralight sticks, the Dano sticks, are about 1.66, I believe. So these are right there at it. Now, again, these are 15 inches step to step, I believe, is what they were before from the factory. Let's double check it now. You're right at 15 inches again. So 15 inches, we did not lose anything. And well, the great thing is we've got double steps, we've got a rope mod. This is if you need the standoffs to turn, they will. I snugged mine down pretty tight, so so they'll stack really nice, easy to stack, but the standoffs will turn. So you got that added benefit there. If you're not familiar with how to tie on, and I had a gentleman here that just drove 2 hours to learn about saddle hunting, all right? Invested in his future for being a bow hunter and a mobile hunter. And he asked, he goes, how do you use that rope if it doesn't have a buckle? Let's show you that real quick to close it out, then we're going to come back in the shop and show you some options of what you can do, different things you can do with these steps. You know, one of the things you can do is just put on just a double step on the top. Keep the single one on the bottom. Let's show you some price differences, break that down. We'll put that in the description, but show you real quick how to attach a rope mod on a tree if you've never done that before. Okay guys, we're at the one sticking tree. Some of you guys may remember that. It's becoming a famous tree out here now. But if you've never seen it, how to do a rope mod, I just brought the rope mod around, right? The rope. And what I'm going to do is just run it underneath the Versa button, underneath the rope from over here, pull it up and cinch tight. That's it. At this point right here, it's on pretty firm, okay? But I will, before I do that normally, I pull it in tight. I go ahead and give it 2 half hitches. You can do either 2 half hitches like that, then push down, it's ready to climb, or it depends on what mood I'm in. Sometimes, if I want to be in a little bit more of a hurry, and make it easier to get down at the end of a hunt, okay, I will bring it up here like this, underneath the Versa button, underneath that rope, cinch it real tight, right? And then I'll do this. I'll get a big loop and just pull it like that and leave that exposed and then pull down. That way at the end of the hunt, lift up on it, pull that out, and I'm ready to go. So that's how you cinch down a rope mod without a buckle if you're not familiar with it or you didn't know. Let's go in for some closing thoughts. Okay guys, let's wrap this up by going through some options and choices that you've got available to you. So I got a couple of these right here. As I built this stick with the anodized ultralight double step and the taking 8 foot of Amsteel, right? So as this stick here would cost me $40 from the factory, I actually ended up a little bit more than double from the mods I made. This is basically an $84 stick. That's $18.49, $18.50 times 2 plus the $8 comes out to $84 a stick. Now, do you have to convert this to an $84 stick to make it good and viable option? No. Dano at Eastern Woods sells non-anodized, non-ultralight, just normal regular steps. The double steps here for, let's see what it is. A non-anodized, just regular double steps, $11.99, 12 bucks. So 12 bucks for a normal double step, $8, I think the $8 is going to be given, right? I think that's a must. You need to replace that buckle with the Amsteel. So $8 is going to be given on all these. But if you wanted to, you could just put a $12 double step up here, the $8 mod, you're $20 into this stick, $40, you got a $60 stick. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. Now you would be, you'd have a single stick down here, a single step, but really where it really matters and counts is up top. If you wanted to put 2 of the $12 double steps, now you're at 24 plus the $8 mod is 32. You'd be $72 into a stick, $72. So that's an easy, viable option. Times 3, you're a little over 200 bucks into 3 good sticks that would accept naders and swaders, 8ers, whatever you wanted to do. From there, obviously, you've got a myriad of choices, right? You've got the ultralights, you've got the anodized, you've got the non-anodized. So we'll put all that in the description below. Give you choices and options, right? But the bottom line, guys, you can start with a $160 package of 4 sticks. Couple different double light steps, double step, ultralight double steps, the rope mod, which will show you how to do that. guys, you can have a really high-end stick for not the $120 per stick that some of these other guys are doing. Those sticks are worth it, and you've saved yourself the build time. But this is a great option. So hope that helps you. And I broke this down really simplistic. I get it, guys. It turned out to be a really long video. But for those guys who just are not mechanically inclined, they don't know a lot about this stuff, you can take this and rewind it and watch it step by step and show you exactly how to make you a really high performing stick at an economical price. Turn a Camaro into a Corvette for you guys.